Today we read Psalm 78, verses 1 to 8. Passing on the story of salvation was and is very important in Jewish culture. The psalm alludes to the importance of children learning the stories of all God has done for his people in the past. And we see that also in the traditional way of celebrating the Passover, where the youngest person present asks a series of questions. Why do we do this? To draw out the story of God's saving power when Moses led the people out of Egypt and slavery to freedom in the Promised Land. As children take part in this ritual year on year, the story becomes not only very well known, but part of them. They're living the story as it continues in their own time. There's a lot of wisdom in this practice. It's about identity as well as history, faith and culture. Who am I? I am one whom God calls and saves out of bondage into freedom. The church does something similar, of course, as we celebrate the festivals of the year. Advent to Christmas, to Lent, to Easter and so on. The annual cycle teaches us, if we follow it step by step, the whole story of our faith. And it's not just about recalling events of long ago. It's about our own identity and about the way we understand things that happen to us now. Who am I? I am a child of the resurrection, a member of the Easter people. I'm called out of death into life. That's the framework through which we should see the world. Imagine a wooden frame which an artist might use to hold up and look through to define something that they might want to draw or paint. And then think of that frame as your resurrection faith and look at everything in the world and in your life through it. It changes the way you look, the way you see things. The story of salvation continues. The risen life of the Lord is active in the world today through the Holy Spirit. What is he doing? This is unlikely to be announced explicitly in the news. But watch the news through that framework and then see. Grandparents often talk to their grandchildren about their memories of the past. What was life like when you were young, Granny? And children listen, fascinated and perhaps incredulous, to stories of life without the internet or mobile phones. What did you do in the war, Grandad? Was an older version of this conversation. What did you do in the coronavirus pandemic? Might be a question in the future. What was it like for you? I wonder how this story will be told in future. I wonder what future generations will make of it. Will it be a story of complete disaster and suffering? Or will there be elements of salvation too? Will it be a story which includes hope and courage, perhaps heroism? Will it be a time that we have learnt from, that we have grown through? Will we perceive as we look back and reflect and frame that story? Will we see the Spirit of God at work in some way? The Spirit of redemption, the Spirit who brings new life, springing out of darkness and death.